Hi, guys. Welcome to Threads Podcast, Life Unfiltered. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Why do you think everybody says, "Hey guys"?
I don't know.
It's like I have noticed it on everything I watch.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's like that's how people greet people.
Hey guys.
I mean, if I walked into a room, I would say, "Hey, guys, what's up?" I mean,
guess
that's what I would say. So, but I do that on the Rideshare podcast too. It's like the same thing.
It is. And it's not just you. It's like every podcast I listen to, everybody's like, "Hey guys."
Yeah,
I think Zane's even like, "Hey guys."
Well, it's funny is I did an intro for the Rideshare podcast with an ad, and even at the beginning ad, I'm like, "Hey guys, how's it going?" I just think it's just a way that you're greeting,
Yeah.
your
But
person.
isn't that like sexist? Only talking to the guys?
I don't. How are we getting started?
Over analyzing this.
How are we getting topics already? Discussing topics, but I guess it could be. So what am I supposed to say? Hey people.
I don't know. Hey Threadies.
Hey, Threadies. Ooh, I do like that. I do like that a lot. So, yes, once again, this is Threads Podcast, Life Unfiltered, and I appreciate you all being here. It's kind of an impromptu, just recording on a Tuesday night because it didn't work Sunday night. So
Yep.
I'm glad you guys are listening and here, and hope you enjoy the show.
Yes. So if you have not been listening to Threads for very long and you're wondering what is this about, well, Threads is an opportunity for Jason and I and guests, if we have them on, to talk openly and honestly and transparently about life. We want to be the opposite of what you so often see on Facebook, the Facebook fake, the Instagram shams, whatever you want to call them. Basically the social media updates that show the glamorous parts of your life, but not the the down and dirty stuff that goes on. So wow.
You stopped talking right when I was moving my mic.
I was wondering what was going on over there. I almost caught myself because down and dirty just sounds kind of down and dirty.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
and then I stopped.
Well, I wasn't looking at
I
you.
was expecting a reaction from you on that one.
Sorry about that.
So this is a chance for us to not just show off the highlight reel of life, but also talk about the details, the stuff that may not be so glamorous, the stuff that's tough to talk about. This gives us a platform to do that. And our goal in doing this is to encourage you to have similar conversations with your loved ones, especially this time of year with the holidays. So that's a little bit about who we are and what we do. Jason and I are just two guys, and you get to tune in for the fun. So today we are going to start our show with our normal personal update. We just like to give you guys a snapshot. Hey, I just did it myself. We give you guys a
That's
snapshot.
sexist, bro.
I know. We should keep a tally of how often we say you guys in a show.
Oh man, we'd have to have
so
someone
high.
else to do it.
Seriously. We like to give an update on how things have been going since the last time we sat down and recorded. Again, just as a way of highlighting the stuff that goes on that may not always be fun to talk about, but we want to be open and transparent.
Yeah, I think it helps. Our lives aren't super like amazing or
Speak for yourself.
or just everything is just pretty normal. But I think what happens out in the world is people don't talk about the shitty stuff, and so we want to do it and say, hey, it's okay to do that. It's okay to talk about it, and maybe you get some help out of us breaking down some things or not. If you don't, I mean, I hope you enjoy whatever we do anyway. So.
Exactly. Well, I'll start it off by saying we had a shitty Thanksgiving, and maybe you did too, you who are listening tonight or whenever you're tuning in. It's okay. Shitty Thanksgivings happen a lot more than we even may realize.
I think more people have shitty holidays always bring out the stress because you're around family that you don't want to be around.
Exactly. Yep. And I think you had an article coming up about that very thing, the mental health around the holidays.
Yeah, I think
So-
that is part of it. I
Yeah.
think.
Well, we'll get to that in a little bit, but back to my Thanksgiving. It was a disaster. It started Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, almost a week ago. Our daughter Miracle had a mental health crisis of epic proportions, and it kind of ruined the weekend, the whole Thanksgiving thing. It was very, very difficult. And because of that crisis, our life as we know it is really about to change and shift. And we're realizing, after all the stuff that went down, we're realizing that we've got to make some changes to our daily schedule so that one of us, well, primarily my wife, Andy, can get Miracle off from school, pick her up or get her off the bus, whatever the case may be. And she's just requiring a lot more help than she did in the past. We're talking like 2 therapy visits a week. Like, we had one earlier today, and we're going back tomorrow. So thank God there have been some incredible service providers that have rallied around us. But it's painstaking. I mean, she's our kid, and it's so hard to see her go through all of this. And it's all the root of it is in fear. She's afraid that we're going to give up on her.
Yeah.
She's afraid that we're going to unadopt her. And so what she does is she tries to control every situation. And when that doesn't work, then she tries to manipulate every situation. And when that doesn't work, she tries to push all of our buttons. She did all of those things and more on Wednesday night and was very unsafe. And we had to call in some resources to help. We had a lot of really good people step up to the plate. So even though it's been incredibly difficult and just exhausting, like, I am just so tired still. I just feel like I haven't even caught up. Despite all of that, I guess the silver lining in all of this is we've really seen how many people care about us and how many people took time out of their Thanksgiving festivities to be with us, to be with our daughter, and to see us through this time. So I'm incredibly grateful for that. But yeah, it was a pretty disastrous Thanksgiving.
Hard to be thankful when that's going on. And
oh yeah, being thankful, it went out. It's hilarious because I recorded an episode for my podcast all about Thanksgiving and the impact that gratitude has on your mental health and all this stuff. I recorded it the week before Thanksgiving. I just laugh when I look at it because here's life unfiltered for you. Being thankful was the farthest thing from my mind on Thanksgiving this year. It just wasn't even on the radar.
It's so hard when you're going through those things to have an attitude of gratitude, even if it's something little that you're going through, and you're just, I don't know why we're naturally want to bitch about stuff. Or, I mean, you had a right. Don't get me. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah,
but
I know.
In generalities, the car wouldn't start or something, and you're just like, oh, I use this all the time. I should not use it because I'm like pro therapy, but I always say, like, I hate my life, and I don't hate my life, but I say that. So I'm sorry you had to go through that, and it's tough. Your kids are sometimes they're brats, and they're acting out of line, and you want to strangle them, and you want to love them all at the same time.
Yep.
And it's like, how do you battle those emotions?
Yeah.
When they're coming at you at the same time, like, oh, I feel so bad for you, but I want to shake you because you're like, ah.
Yeah. And just the stuff she was pulling, it was causing us to feel unsafe, and that's why we had to rally the troops.
Yeah.
So
it's I'm so glad that you're able to be like, I mean, you knew you had a pretty good group of people, but when the shit hits the fan, that's when you really.
Oh man, it was so good, and so many of these people we know them because of our church.
Yeah.
And I just think about people who don't have a church or they're not connected to a faith body like that. It's like how we would have survived this.
No, yeah.
But just having those people to surround us and help in very tangible ways has been just incredible. I mean, you and Megan obviously brought us a meal, and we haven't had to make a dinner since everything went down Wednesday night. Like, people have just been bringing meals over, and what can we do to help? I have one buddy who's also a adoptive parent, and he went through similar stuff with one of his kids last year, and we were able to help them in their time of need, and they turned around and did the same for us and took it a step further and not only brought a meal, but he was like, are there any projects around the house that you need help with? And I was like, well, actually, we got this bathroom remodel. What do you know about exhaust fans? And he's like, I'm sure we could figure it out. Sure enough, came over and helped get that going. And yeah, I mean, part of me just wanted to crawl up and just stay in bed and not deal with anything.
Yeah.
But life had to go on. I mean, we've got our bathroom in the basement is literally torn apart. It needs to be put back together. That requires my attention. And obviously my daughter needs me. So just crawling up in bed and trying to hibernate wouldn't have worked.
Well, kind of a small silver lining. Not that you're injured is a silver lining, but at least you've been home
Exactly.
to help a little bit more, and you're not getting pulled away from work. I know that's coming to a close soon, which I'm happy for you.
Yes. I go back tomorrow for 3 hours.
Oh, that's right. Tomorrow. Nice.
So,
So that's kind of a silver lining that you were able to step in and do what you needed to do to help Miracle and Andy and Stefan
yeah.
and to do all that. So
Yep. So that was
just if you're a praying person, pray for Ben. He needs prayers. So
pray for my family
well
and for me, but
yeah. Well, they don't know your family. They only
That's
know
true.
you. Well, they know Andy. But
yeah, she's been on the show.
Right.
And Miracle did ads for us once upon a time.
Yeah.
That was fun.
We need to be better at putting that stuff
I
in.
know.
We're terrible. Get to that any part, you're just like cut the front, cut the back, go.
Yep.
You all set on your update there? Or do
I
you
think
wanna-
so. I mean, I've got more to share, but it's more in line with our
Yeah,
unfiltered finale.
That's fine.
So
Yeah, so my kind of update is it's been a little bumpy. I just feel like the devil has been working really hard the last couple weeks. Ben has some, what you just heard with Miracle. My dog died, Brutus, and my friend's dad died. And it's just been a lot of like all these like dark things right around Thanksgiving, and it's been really tough. It's like we didn't go to Thanksgiving service, but we went to Sunday, and I was just
wait,
like,
does your church do a Thanksgiving service? Interesting.
they do yours doesn't?
No.
No,
Not on
that's
Thanksgiving.
really. Do they do Christmas?
Christmas Eve.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think we do Christmas Eve and Christmas Day.
Interesting.
Yeah, so didn't go for Thanksgiving, but went Sunday, and I was just the songs sucked. They were terrible. They were terrible.
Oh man.
Like and if anyone hears this from Alive, this is not against you or anything. I feel like it was more of a second string team, and that's okay. Like they don't perform all the time,
Oh,
but
sure.
the tempo was off. Like one of the songs I knew, and I'm like, I said the word out loud, and I was 1 second ahead, but I think I was on. Like I can keep tempo. Like I've been in music all my life, so that set me off, and it was just I know. Here
You're
I am.
fussy.
I know, but I love music. Like music is what tightens me into the service.
Sure.
Like ready to rock and roll for Jesus. Yay,
Right.
Jesus. You know what I mean? And it just, they were all terrible. And there were Christmas songs too, but they just, I don't. Anyways, so I just feel like this last couple of weeks has just been crappy. And so yeah, and with Brutus dying, it
Yeah.
was really tough.
Ugh.
Yeah, it was, I don't know, like he's been my buddy from like early on when we started, he wasn't, but then over the years as he's gotten older,
Yeah.
he's kind of been like him and I, like
Sure.
every night I snuggled that dog. Like towards the end, he didn't want to stay on the bed with us because I think being blind, he had trouble like figuring out where he was and
Yeah.
stuff. But
Oh man.
yeah, it was pretty tough. But he was a good boy and he lived a good life. So, but yeah, that's about it. It's just been kind of just a crappy couple of weeks, and my pain has spiked up again, and for my tailbone issue, and that's hard because I'm driving Like
You're
that's what I'm
sitting all
doing,
day.
sitting all day. So I've been trying to stretch more and go to the chiropractor, and I'll talk about a little bit more how that's kind of affecting my daily life with that. So
Sure, man.
yeah.
Well, one is that. Sorry, anything
No,
else
you're
you want to
good.
share? All right.
I'd cut. You know me. I'd stop you.
You put friends didn't announce they baby.
Okay, so I didn't know if that was a good time. So I have
No.
some friends.
Well, it's an update.
Yeah,
I'm
I-
really curious.
I
what
have some
that
acquaint
means.
like they used to be more close, and it's fine. We just drifted away, different parts of our stages of life.
Yeah.
Their
happens.
their kids are even younger than ours.
Oh, wow.
He's like 10 years younger than me, so it's fine. It's
Like my age,
no, you're what 36.
35.
All right, so I'm 8. Well, close. Yeah, 8 years. Man, I am older than you. But no, it's really strange. So I get a text from him, and he's like, "Oh, hey, my wife had a baby, and she's in the NICU, and Megan's a NICU nurse."
Yeah.
And so we kind of started a conversation. I'm like, "Wait, y'all were pregnant?" And I was like,
Surprise.
so I was like, okay, and it was just bizarre, and they haven't announced it yet either. I don't understand it.
Wow.
I know it's kind of the weirdest thing. And have you ever heard of that?
No. Where they
Like,
just don't tell people?
They're not. Yeah, I don't get it. Like they have 2 boys. Like that was all. I mean, I get if they want to be private about it, but they're
Right.
not like that.
Yeah.
They're not like super private people. So
So weird.
I don't know. I still don't get it, and it's fine. They can do what they want, but
Right.
I've never seen anyone do that. So
Yeah.
that was very bizarre. I don't know, but
Interesting. Well, another part of our show, part of our personal update at that, is not just talking about the good moments, which this update didn't have a whole lot of them to
No.
begin with. So
No.
there's that. But we also like to just touch on some of the failures or mistakes that we make. If you're Jason, apparently you don't make any mistakes.
I mean, I'll
but-
just say right now, I screw up a lot. I do, but I have a terrible memory. I don't know. I think I fixed whatever I did, and I'm like, okay, we're cool. Peace out. And then it just goes right
Yeah.
out my head. And I don't have anything. I even asked Megan. I'm like, here's your opportunity to throw me right under the bus.
Tell me what I did wrong.
Not that she would, but I literally asked her, like, I don't know anything. So I don't know. Maybe something will come to me during the show.
There
but
you go.
I'll let you.
We can come back to it. If it
I'll let
does.
you throw yourself under the bus.
Yeah. Well, throw myself under the bus. That would be painful.
Yeah.
Speaking of pain,
Speaking of pain and buses.
I have been off work, as you probably know if you've listened to the show for any amount of time. I've been off of work since basically the first week of November.
Dang, it's been long.
Yeah, it's been about a month,
Wow.
actually. And I cannot go back to full-time work until December, I want to say 16? I can't remember. Yeah, I think it's 16. My follow-up appointment is on a Friday, and then after that appointment, I'll be cleared to go back full-time. Hopefully, that's how it goes.
Oh, I'm sure it will.
So, I just have not been doing much, and last week, I wanted to get some projects done in the bathroom downstairs, so I took them on and finishing drywall and other things that needed to get done. I did it, and quickly realized that's probably not the best idea with my back. I was feeling better, and for the first few days I didn't have any pain, but then Sunday rolled around and I'm just hurting. I'm like, okay, I way overdid it. So my wife has been kind of getting on me. She's like, stop bending over. Stop doing that. You're not supposed to be bending. You're not supposed to be twisting. Just sit down. I'll take care of it. And I'm just getting so tired of
Yeah.
not being able to do anything.
Yeah.
So
I think it's tough when you feel okay and you're like, oh, it's fine.
yeah, it's like I'm feeling good. I can do it.
I don't know how you've done it. I can't sit still.
Ugh.
Like, the longest I sit still is when I working on the podcast.
Yeah.
Or recording. That's
Yep.
it.
Or rideshare driving.
Shut up. At least I've been trying to get out like in between, like once an hour, get out, do some stretches, and
Yeah. So I just have not been doing well with sitting still. So my failure this week is I tried to do too much last week, ended up with a lot of pain Sunday and Monday. I essentially thought that I knew better than the doctor's orders, and I clearly did not.
I don't think you did. You just felt better and you
Yeah.
pushed it.
It's like you feel good, so you just go with it.
Yeah. You're like, you got to get S done. Like, let's do it.
Yep. And didn't work out so well.
All right. So I want you to challenge me to be more diligent on writing stuff down. Like I feel like I need to start a journal. Like I have an online journal app. Every once in a while it says, hey, write a thought down. And I was like,
Right.
screw you notification. And I never do it. So I think maybe I need to start doing that because I know I've screwed up a ton of times since we last recorded. So, so one of the things that if you've heard our show too, we talk about therapy a lot. Ben and I are both in, what do you call it? Psychotherapy? Isn't that the
Yes,
word?
it is.
Why'd you laugh?
Just the way you said it.
psychotherapy?
Psychotherapy.
Question mark?
Like I'm a psycho.
Yeah. You need to go psychotherapy.
There you go.
You know
Not
space.
psychotherapy.
Psycho, comma, therapy. You're a psycho, comma, you need therapy. So yeah, we just share an update. We, our kind of our thing is we peer pressure people to go to therapy. And just because it's so helpful and, our hashtag, thanks to Andy, is healthy people go to therapy.
It's true.
So it's like, not that I'm healthy.
I think you're more healthy than you give yourself credit for.
I agree. So we just kind of talk about what's going on. And I will just jump into mine real quick. Therapy is good. The pain has been a struggle. So what this pain does, and I've had it before, and it's gone away, and then it's come back, it's gone away, is the anxiety I'm dealing with, the hopelessness that I remember how bad it got, and it kind of went away, and then eventually did. It's just that feeling of like, I'm going to have to deal with this for the next 30 years, 40 years, how long I live. So I get in these funks, and I went into like a 5-day funk. You probably didn't know about it. Maybe I wasn't more of an a-hole. I don't know. But it was probably not last week, but maybe the week before. Oh, no, we were having
We were being a little grouchy.
Yeah, we were being grouchy to
It was
each
Monday
other.
and Tuesday last week before Miracle's episode on Wednesday.
Maybe, yeah. So I was just in a funk, and it's tough for me to get out there. So one of the things in therapy I'm working on is like how to get out of that. And one of the things that she said is, we talked about the phone, like our screen time. We get on our phone, we get on the TV, and she's like, that's not helping you get out of the funk. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's giving you that dopamine hit.
Sure.
But it's not giving you the right kind of dopamine. So
Yeah.
that's one thing I'm working on, and trying to mentally deal with the pain and say, you know what? It's not great. It might not go away, but this is what it is today. Just naming the pain. This is my pain. Hello, pain. What's up?
Yeah.
Like
What are you gonna do today?
We're gonna work on it today. We're gonna do the best we can, but we're not gonna stress about it. So that's kind of one of the things that I've been working on.
Yeah.
So, but it's been going well, and I found out today.
That's a very CBT thing, by the way.
What's that?
The whole naming it and how
Yeah.
you doing today.
When I went to I've done test after test. I've done MRI, everything. They say it's all muscular related. None of that will show up on the MRI. You know what I mean? Like, unless it's like bone or anything like that.
What about CT scan?
Everything. I've done everything.
Weird.
Everything's fine.
Because my CT scan showed stuff that the X-ray didn't.
Yeah, I've had X-ray, CT, and MRI.
Gosh.
Yeah. So I went through all that. And then I ended up going to Mary Free Bed Pain Clinic, which if you guys have chronic pain, even though that it's chronic and it may never go away, I highly recommend it. And part of that is I saw a psychologist, and he really taught me how to deal mentally with it.
Yeah.
Not ignore it, but just name what it is.
Yep.
Like, this is what it is. Yes, it sucks, but we're gonna take it today, and we're gonna see what happens. So, yeah, that's been good, and hopefully the pain will go away. And I honestly, one of the things I've been struggling with the pain too, and I know I am rambling. I'm sorry.
No, it's
I
all
see you
right.
clicking around in there. You're like, come on, a-hole.
No, I was like, I thought I was supposed to go first, but it's okay.
No. Well, if I transition, it's
I know,
probably
then you
easier
should-
for me to
I
go
know.
first. But one of the things I've struggled with has been driving, and I need to.
Yeah.
And the problem is, like, because
That's your income right now.
right, and I've not been doing my best, so I need to mentally tackle this pain and get my ass out there and get to work.
Yeah. That's got to be so hard, though.
It is, because it's like this. you know, okay, I want my pain to feel better, but in order to make money, I got to work 6 to 8 hours sitting in a car the whole time.
Oh man.
Like I have a pad that helps, like a little butt tushy thing.
You
That's
should get one of those floaties. Sit on a
Floaties?
floaty. Like the kids wear in the swimming pool.
How is that going to fit my car seat?
I don't know.
All right. So yeah, things are good. And again, just to reiterate, if you ever need any help with therapy, we'll try to direct you in the right direction. Direct you in the right direction? Point you in the right.
Point you.
There
There
we
you
go. Not that we're experts or anything, but it's been so helpful for Ben and I want it to be helpful to you.
It has been. So today I had an interesting experience. We both go to therapy today. Is that what I'm gathering?
Yes.
That's great. So I went today and obviously had a lot to talk about with my therapist. And it's so interesting because I have worked with two or three other providers before this guy. And in those settings, I did not do much of the talking. It was the therapist that
Which
would
is
do a lot
weird.
of the
I've never
talking.
been to therapy that they've done most of the talking.
Yeah, it definitely was odd. And so to then go into this environment where I'm talking and he is intently listening to me and focusing on what I'm saying.
Isn't it weird?
It is.
It almost is. Like, I know you're probably used to it now, but when you
Yeah.
first started out, you're like, why are you staring at me, dude?
Yeah, and then the awkward pauses where he waits for me to say what's top of mind. And I figured out that's what he's trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like part of psychotherapy is what's happening in the moment.
Yeah.
And so he kind of just pauses and whatever I bring up next is where we go. But it's so awkward because I'll just be looking at him making this eye contact and it's quiet.
You
I'm
mean like when it's dead quiet on a podcast, we're waiting for a transition?
Yes.
It seems
Kinda
like 20
that.
minutes and it's like a second and a half.
Yeah. So I've just started looking away when that happens. And
Well, you don't
just-
have to stare at them the whole time. I mean, it doesn't have to be weird.
So last week he did offer me the reclining seat just because of my back, but I've never been comfortable with that idea of therapy. The reclining or laying on a couch, and then the therapist is sitting on a chair. It's just awkward.
Yeah.
So I turned that down and I just sat in my normal spot.
I'd
So-
love to lay in my bed. That'd be awesome.
Right.
Put her on a chair up in the corner and I'll just lay in my bed and just like a TV show. Like, all right, tell me more about that.
Yeah. So it was just really good today to talk through everything that transpired over the weekend. And I left feeling really good. I left feeling like I handled the situation as well as we could. I left feeling confident in how I'm moving forward with my daughter. In the past, I would have issues with self-doubt and self-questioning, and I would always be replaying things in my mind. Did I do the right thing? Did I make the right call? Should I have waited to reach out for help?
Overanalyzing.
Oh yeah, way overanalyzing. And I've stopped doing that since going to therapy. And I think it's because instead of doing all of that analysis in my head, I get to do it with a trained, qualified therapist who helps me unravel all of these thoughts that go through my head. And so I leave feeling so much better about myself and so much more confident in what I'm doing. And then today, it was so odd. Never had this before. I left my therapy session and immediately drove to Miracle's therapy session. So I had 2 back-to-back hours of therapy today.
That's tough.
It was. It
That's
was
tough
very
because
tough.
sometimes those therapy sessions, sometimes they're not a lot of work, but sometimes they're a lot of work,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you just get done and then you're exhausted, and then
Miracles was a ton of work.
Did you have to?
today.
Did you sit in the hole?
We do. It's family therapy.
Oh, okay.
So at least that's what we're doing with Miracle. Stefan sees the same provider, but he's at a point where we go in and talk for maybe
The
5
recap,
minutes
yeah.
just to give a recap, and then Stefan meets with him alone. So,
Yeah.
But this dude is just incredible. If you have adopted kids and you live in West Michigan and you need help, he's your guy. Like that's all he does is work with adoptive families, and he's adopted a child as well, so he gets it.
Yeah.
So it was good, but it was a difficult session. He he does not do any messing around. Like Miracle likes to push buttons and try to distract or shift topics.
During the
Oh yeah.
really?
And he doesn't have it. He does not let her. He just
No?
keeps plowing forward.
Yeah.
It's so awesome.
And how does she handle that?
She actually quiets down and gets very thoughtful and reflective. Like he knows how to push her buttons back and get
Well,
her to track.
I wouldn't say push her buttons. He knows how to curate the words to,
Yeah.
but knows her,
Yep.
I don't know. I there's always a negative connotation with pushing buttons.
That's true. So what's interesting is she went and saw him for a period of probably a year and a half and started doing really, really well. And then within the last 6 months it's been more than since May, essentially. It's like she was so close to trusting us and seeing us as her forever family. And then something changed in her brain and she's been questioning all of that. And she's just got this deep rooted fear. And that fear comes out in all the wrong ways. So our goal with therapy is to help her process through that fear and realize that we're serious when we say we're your forever family. We're not giving up. Try as you might. No, please stop trying so hard because we're
Please
not.
stop.
Yeah. Like, we're serious. Like, what else do you need to see or hear from
Well,
us?
that's the thing. It's anxiety, and you can't really. It's you can't explain it.
Yep.
You logically know, and she probably logically knows that this is the long haul. But it's the anxiety. I don't deal with. Well, I have anxiety, but not in the way like Megan's had, like straight up like panic attacks, and I can't understand it. I'm like, honey, it's fine. Like literally, even my son Sully, one thing he's struggling right now is he cannot be alone. He has to be with somebody, and
That's got to be taxing.
it's so taxing. And I had it's kind of a flub tonight, but I don't know how to work with it. But like I had to do something outside, and he's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" I'm like, "Stay inside." He's like, "No, no, no." And then we get in this little fight, and I
Yeah.
get frustrated with him. I'm like, logically, it's fine. Have I ever left you? No. Will I ever leave you? No. Okay, you're fine. But I'm not fine. That's what he
Yeah.
says. So it's tough that I understand that she gets it. She understands that you're not going to leave, but whatever it is, she just can't. She'll get it. She'll
She
eventually
will.
get it.
Eventually. That's the hope. And I get it. I get why she has trouble with it because she had somebody who adopted her that did give up on her.
Oh, really?
And it sucks, but so it makes sense. It doesn't make it any easier to deal with, but there's so much trauma in her history, and this is her way of dealing with it. And I mean, I have to be careful with myself because I'll often expect her to handle this trauma better than she is.
Yes.
But then I have to stop myself and say, if I was 10 years old and given the life circumstances she has, would I be able to handle this trauma any differently? And it's a big fat no.
I know. Why do we put our adult thoughts in these little kids?
Yeah.
Like, seriously, you should be fine. And you're like, no, you're not fine. You're 10.
She's doing the very best she can right now.
Yeah.
And I have to believe that about her.
Yeah.
And I have to believe that she does not want to inflict this pain and trauma and aggression on our family.
No.
But it's her survival mechanism.
Yeah.
She's had to fight through her entire life, and she's at a point where she doesn't have to do that anymore, but she thinks she does.
Yeah.
So it's hard.
Yeah. Man. Oh, it's so hard. But I know she's going to be great. Like, I know, but that doesn't do jack crap for you right now. But in my head, I'm like,
In time, she will.
I think she's going to be great.
She's going to turn the world upside down. Like, she's got some... When she's on, she's on. And she is an incredible young woman.
I've been around her. She's loving. She's caring. She's been around my kids. Like, I know that that's all in there.
It is. We're just not seeing much of it lately, but
Yeah.
we'll get there.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's our therapy update. Any other comments from you on that?
No. We're just going to jump into our God question, Christianese.
Yes.
I did not even read this. I was like scrambling to load the, I I have
the
a
stuff into
I have a
XSplit.
good comment about the picture, so
Ah.
I will load that up, and you can explain what we do here.
Yeah, so the God question, historically, it's been a pretty deep moment in our podcast. I'll come up with some deep, thought-provoking question about God or about faith or following God. But today I want to scale back a little bit on the depth and just point out an elephant in the room that usually comes to mind as people talk about Christians or church people. There's a lot of stereotypes about church people, whether it's the CRC folk or the church people who, they live one way Monday through Saturday, and then Sunday they put on their church clothes and pretend everything's okay. So my question with all of this is, do you think church people know that they're coming across as fake? Do you think they care?
That's a good question. That's a good question, because I feel like, and just as like where our podcast is focused on, I feel like without church, you can just be fake too. Like it doesn't.
True.
It doesn't have to be a church thing, but you expect more from Christian people or
You
Catholics
should, yeah,
or
right?
whatever.
People of faith.
I think they're just. I think they know that they're doing it, and I think they just try to make everyone think that they're okay. Like that was my whole life growing up.
Yeah.
But
what does that accomplish? I don't get it.
I just think people don't want people to think bad about them. That's what it accomplishes. Nothing. It's nothing for them, but they don't get crap talked about them or whatever.
Sure.
And people of faith shouldn't be doing that anyways, but we're all sinners. So
Yep.
it happens. But so this picture, if you're watch the video, it's an old lady. It says, "When church is over and you're on your way to verbally assault a food worker." So my mom did that so much.
Really?
Like she treated service people like shit, and I hated it to the point like as I got older, I'm like, I don't want to go out to dinner with you, because like, why
Wow.
are you treating this person like they're your servant? Like,
Yeah.
they're just an employee in the business that you're in. Do you treat the elders and deacons like that,
Right.
that are passing the plate or
Yeah.
whatever it is? But it was so stressful, Ben. I'm telling you, it was so awkward. I would just look down at my menu, and she would always find something wrong. So it kind of has that picture kind of has a not a soft spot. What's the word? A trigger spot.
Sure. That makes sense.
Yeah. So what do you think?
Yeah. I guess what comes to mind is things like that, like the Christians who are raising their hand and raising their hands in worship and getting all into the music and whatnot, and then you see them in the parking lot and they're like flipping somebody off because somebody cut them off on the way out of the church parking lot. It's
I
like-
would love to see that. That'd be hilarious.
It's hilarious, but it happens. I
Yeah.
remember back in college, I went to Mars Hill for a while because that was where all the college kids would go to church. And it was very much that thing. Everybody around you is all into the worship, but then you get out to the parking lot and it's a pain to exit that parking lot by the Y there.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's insane. And back in the church's heyday, when thousands of people would come from all over to hear Rob Bell speak, the parking lot was a mess.
Yeah.
And you would get beeped at, flipped off, yelled at in the parking lot. And it's like, wait, you were just in church. Like, doesn't that translate to anything here? So I've always had that question of, are they even aware that they're coming across that way, or do they even care? And I don't think they do.
I mean, I struggle during the week to be more Christian-like. I do. I wish, and maybe that's why there's small group and Bible studies, why people do that
Yeah.
to make sure they're involved. But I struggle too. I'm sure Monday morning after I'm going to work and someone cuts me off, I'm sure I'm flipping them the bird or saying WTF with my arms up like
Right.
this. I don't know. Not that that's super non-Christian. Well, flipping people off, but if you in your own car you're throwing a fit, it's one thing. But yeah, I don't know. I think they know that they're coming across as fake, but I think maybe coming across as fake. But I think like me getting mad about the driver, I don't think it's just I forget my faith sometimes.
Yeah.
Like is that, I mean, that's a thing, right? Not forget it, but just, the whole dumb, what would Jesus do?
Yep.
Although everyone says that's dumb. I didn't think it was dumb back in the day.
My daughter wears a bracelet.
Do they still do that? Clearly.
Apparently, she came back from camp with it, so
Yeah.
and she's worn it ever since. And I am guilty of calling her out on it, and I shouldn't. But I've been known to say things like, "Miracle, why do you even wear that stupid bracelet?
Ooh, man.
You don't even give a care for what Jesus would do."
Oh, that's harsh.
Yeah, probably not my finest parenting moment.
I haven't even done that. No, I will say to the kids, what would Jesus think in this situation? Is this I think that's okay to say.
Oh, absolutely.
I can't believe you said, why are you even wearing that bracelet?
Yeah, and Andy will just look at me. She's like, "Dear,
Come on.
not helpful." I'm like, "Yeah, you're right. Sorry."
Man, you could have saved that for a flub.
I could have. Darn.
So,
But yeah, what are your thoughts? Those of you who are listening to this episode, we'd love to hear your feedback. You can always send us a note at hello@threadspodcast.com via email, or you can go onto our website. There's a form, and it's cool because people have been using it to reach out to us. Threadspodcast.com. Let us know your feedback. Maybe you're not a person of faith and you've observed some of the stuff that we've talked about. Maybe you are a food service employee and you've been the victim of church people. Tell us your story. So, speaking of giving us your feedback, one of the things that would really help us out, beyond just reaching out to us, is writing a review for us, and especially on Apple Podcasts.
nice. I saw you say I.
I was
in
about
your
to say
mouth. You went,
iTunes.
you
Apple
didn't even say the
Podcasts.
I. You went Apple.
Caught myself.
Nice work.
So Apple Podcast, write us a review. Why on that platform specifically? Well, it's the one that moves the needle the most for us. We have a really neat tool called Chartable, and it keeps track of listens and where people are tuning in from. And every time that you write a review for us, it bumps us up in Apple's rankings. So if you think that the material we cover on here is quality, then do us a favor and write a review and let us know. That just helps more people find out about this show, and that's exciting when that happens.
So next up is our current events, and so we're just going to watch some videos and just kind of break down, just some stuff, some Jesus junk. I'm looking forward to that. So the first one is about a woman that might have to register as a sex offender. And I know some of these are, I know it's ridiculous. Some of these are a little old because they might be 3 or 4 weeks old. But, we don't record all the time one-on-one. So, but this is something that we saved and said, this is ridiculous. So we'll play the video, and it's a news video, and then we'll kind of break it down.
Tilly Buchanan is facing misdemeanor charges of lewdness involving a child. It stems from an incident last year where she found herself under investigation and ultimately charged for being topless inside her own home. Now, she says that she and her husband were doing insulation work and taking off itchy clothing when her children saw her topless. That led to the charges, but in light of a recent federal appeals court ruling that says bans on topless women discriminate, she and the ACLU of Utah are asking for the charges to be dismissed and Utah's lewdness statute dealing with toplessness to be struck down.
There's part of it that says this part of a woman is found inherently obscene, and this part of a man isn't. And that really sets up an unequal, unfair dichotomy. I think, Tilly's case is an example of something none of us would expect to happen.
Hopeful, especially given it was in the privacy of my own home. My husband was right next to me in the exact same manner that I was, and he's not being prosecuted for it.
Now, in court, attorneys for West Valley City argued that the law should stay on the books. They say that legislatures have a right to make laws based on morality. Now, the judge promised a ruling sometime in the next couple of months. Live at the Matheson Courthouse, Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News.
So again, the question that always comes up is, what are they not telling us in this news story? Like, how did they find out? Like, did somebody report her?
So here's what probably happened. She was the stepmom. So the biological, probably went home. Kid said something to mom. Not to be mean,
Yeah,
but
just-
said something, or maybe the mom overheard them talking, like,
Sure.
oh, I saw, stepmom so-and-so's boobs or whatever. And she probably reported it. And I've been through that. I've been through CPS investigations from my ex of bullshit.
That's so
and it just
stupid.
wastes time, and it's terrible. So that's probably what happened. But
Yeah.
the weird part of it is why are they turning this to free the nip? Like they're talking. Sorry, one of the signs was free the nip.
Saw that.
I was chuckling. But why they're basically turning it into that? Like I think she's doing
Two completely different issues.
Yes, totally. And I think that stepmom is doing whatever she can to get that charge dropped, because can you imagine if she have to register as a sex
That
offender?
is so stupid.
It's the way-
'Cause she took off itchy clothing.
Right, in her own home.
Yeah.
I mean, my kids have seen both of us at times, not on purpose, but just that's what's like. That
That's
happens.
life in a family.
Right.
I mean,
it's ridiculous. I mean, I fully support a woman to walk around topless. I'm just gonna say that. Free the nip. I'm okay with that. How about you, Ben?
I'm just thinking back to when earlier tonight before the show started, your little gift on the TV. Yep, that's where I went.
I was changing a shirt and I put my nipple, which is completely okay apparently, up to the camera, and I told Ben to look at
It was
TV.
very not okay.
It was okay for you. So
That is so crazy. So the next one that we have is a lighthearted video. Honestly, I'm at a point this week where I can't do much depth. I'm usually a super deep person, but even with a God question, I just couldn't muster something deep. So I saw this dad joke video and I laughed so hard at this. So this cheered me up, and I'm pretty sure it'll do the same for you. So we've got
I'm kind of gun shy after we got pulled. Our video got pulled
I
down.
know, right?
But it's so weird of all the things that pulled it down.
Yeah.
But we'll see, because it's two big celebrities. So
I
I'm
know.
wondering, but I don't care. All right, here we go.
So this is
Oh,
not our
sorry.
work. We'll just throw that out there as a disclaimer.
Well, the last one didn't even have audio, and it got
I
pulled.
know, it's so weird.
Somehow they have. I don't know how the technology is there that they can see the video.
Yeah,
So
I don't know.
do you want any more intro to this?
No, I don't think so.
All right.
It's a dad joke competition between two celebrities.
What do mermaids wash their fins with? Tide.
The first part was funnier. You should have never thrown the punchline. That was terrible. Did you know in King Arthur's time, one of the knights of the Round Table collected taxes? His name was Surcharge.
Yeah.
Top that.
What did the fried rice say to the shrimp?
Fry your rice.
Don't walk away from me.
Is that what it says? Yeah. That's pretty good. Yeah. Did you hear Steve Harvey and his wife got into a fight?
That's not real, is it?
Yeah. It was a family feud.
Did you hear about the superhero with a lisp that always worked out? He's Thor.
Bad ending again.
What are you talking? How can you know?
What kind of car does an egg drive? A Volkswagen.
That's terrible.
Volkswagen.
That's terrible.
Get it?
What do you call someone who gets mad when they don't have any bread? Lactose intolerant.
Who made these up? He didn't even laugh. He deadpanned them.
Would it be weird if me and Adam Sandler did Daddy's Home 3? Oh, that's not on the paper.
Why would you even
I
bring that
thought
up?
that was on the paper.
Why would you even bring that
It
up?
was on the other paper.
That was just mean.
No, they took out the other piece of paper. It was
So
on
I'm
there.
fired from Daddy's Home 3?
Well,
That's
if
what you're saying.
Spade's not available, then
Spade?
well, some one of those guys.
What do you call the syrup with a speech impediment?
Oh, scissor.
Mrs. Stuttersworth.
Oh, that's a good one. What airlines did Jesus and Mary take?
Virgin.
No.
Oh.
TW. Yes, Virgin.
You know, it's funny. What do you think about them like teasing people with lisps and all that stuff? Like, it's just comedy, but it's been, you can't get away with anything. Everyone's
Yeah,
like
so
butthurt about
sensitive.
that. But when it's just comedy, it's not like, I don't know. I'm just curious what you thought about that is.
No, I think I don't know. I laughed.
You read my punchlines, I'm gonna crack you with this space helmet here.
What's the most crunk place to go to the bathroom?
Oh boy.
The Little John.
Oh,
Little
gee.
John. Wow, that's good. What was the Foot's favorite type of chips? Doritos.
That's terrible.
That is
If
terrible.
Steven Seagal removed all animal products from his diet,
Oh,
what
this is
would
good.
we call him? You can probably get this one.
Stephen Vigali? Vegetable?
Vegan Seagal.
Oh.
I wouldn't have got that in 15 years.
Oh.
What did the plumber say to the singer? Nice pipes.
Yeah.
Cold man.
If spaghetti
Cold man.
made an action movie, what would it be called?
Spaghetti Western?
Mission Impossible.
These are terrible. They're not even dad jokes.
What kind of shoes do gophers wear?
Gloafers.
Woodchucks.
What do you call a lazy doctor? You made this reference.
Gynecologist. Endocrinologist.
Dr. Doolittle.
Oh. Did you know on average people want 3 covers on their beds at all times?
No.
That's just a blanket statement. Okay, another one.
All right. That's enough. I'm not going another 3 minutes.
I love those.
Those are funny. I hate the dad jokes, but you just
I love them.
adore them. I mean, I don't hate them, but I'm just like, what are we even doing here?
I absolutely love dad jokes. That's like my claim to fame.
Yeah, it seriously is. You do a good job with them. You'll slip them in and you'll be like, what just happened? So the next story is about an outreach program for homeless that pays minimum wage. And let's just watch the video. I'm going to do a terrible job. This one should be a little bit shorter.
A program that just started 7 months ago is already changing the lives of the people involved. Bridge to Work is a pilot program. The city of Little Rock pays homeless people to pick up trash in hopes that it'll help them to pick up their lives. THV11's Mercedes McKay introduces us to one man who did just that. Mercedes?
Yeah, David, the man behind this smiling face is Roy Rawls, and he's the epitome of how this program has the potential to take people from the streets to a home of their very own. Now, in this picture, he was getting ready to pay his first month's rent all on his own, which is just the beginning step to a brand new life.
Now I'm coming through.
Roy Rawls has spent the past 2 years of his life wandering.
It's been hard to come up like that.
One moment he was in barber school, and in an instant he was packing his bags,
I had to quit because my mother passed away.
forcing him to fend for himself.
Left me out in the streets.
Not long after, diabetes kicked in, breaking him down quickly.
This weather got me all beat up, so I got to get indoors.
That diagnosis turned out to be his saving grace because his doctor told him about the Bridge to Work program.
And she helped me, went online and filled out the application, and that was about 4 months ago, and here I am.
Spending those days picking up trash while saving every penny he could.
So I just stuck it in an envelope, and every time he would work with us, he'd put another $10 or so back.
A couple bucks here and there adding up, so Roy could follow that dream he was once chasing.
I keep 9 to 10 pair of clippers on me at all times so I could handle whatever job come my way.
This passion of cutting hair that has been with him since he was 14.
Scissor, razor, clipper, you know what I'm saying? Or just pick it out your head, it's gonna get cut.
With a brand new set of 4 walls he can call his own. What once was a vision can now become a reality.
When I see them begin to make steps and follow up on what they want to do in their life, that's the most important thing.
A life that was once spent wandering.
It's easy to just kind of give up and to not believe that anything other than the life you got is the only thing possible.
Now has a clear path ahead.
Through the grace of God, great things happen.
The associate professor of Canvas Community Church, which runs Bridge to Work, says Roy's success story illustrates the impact created by the church, the city, and other community groups involved in this program. If you'd like to help Roy fill up that apartment of his, you can give money or furniture to Settled Souls. To help out more people just like Roy, you can also donate to Canvas Community.
A program that just started 7 months ago is all.
What? I hit the quick button. Is it still not working? Let me try. Yeah, I hit it. I don't know why it glitched. Did you see his
so
mouth?
Weird. He was talking so fast. That was great.
So what a good story.
No
what I
kidding.
didn't hear about, do they control the money or is he controlling the money?
I think the volunteers are.
Okay.
So it's a joint effort between the city, a church, and I guess a housing provider. I don't know.
Okay. They didn't really quite break that down because you
No.
always worry about, when you see homeless people on the street, you give them $5, they're just going to buy booze with
Right.
it. And that's fine if they want to. I mean,
Their
if
prerogative.
you give your money, they can kind of do whatever
Let's
they
not
want.
get down that rabbit trail again.
Why? Did we get on a trail on that?
Charity, giving
Oh
money.
gosh. Don't even start with that. But no, that's a cool story.
Very cool.
I'm in full support of getting the underprivileged if they need work. Let's have them clean up stuff. Like,
Yeah.
why not? I mean, if they're
Exactly.
willing to do it,
It'll help them get on their feet, give
Right.
them purpose in the morning.
I just don't know if I would want. Although, even if they did spend it on crap, if they're still showing up and doing the work,
Right.
why do we care?
Yeah. I mean, nobody's checking with me on how I'm spending my money. I mean,
Maybe me either, and maybe someone should.
actually, I'll take that back. We do have our in-laws that are kind of helping us take a look at our finances.
Yeah.
Which is good in this season of life. So-
Yes, for sure.
But yeah, I love that program. And what I really love is the fact that there's this collaboration between a church, city, and a nonprofit. Like they're all working together to help these people.
Yeah,
It's not often that you see the church being involved in something with like,
the government.
with a municipality.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, it is. It didn't sound tough in
I'm
my
glad you
head,
said
but
it.
yeah. So it's just so cool to see them working together. Although I found it hilarious that the news anchor said assistant professor from the church. I think she meant to say assistant pastor.
Oh, I missed that. Yeah, but
But-
you're probably right.
Yeah.
Always point out the negative, Ben. Come on. This is a positive
It's
story.
not negative.
And-
I thought it was cute that she made that mistake.
I have a question for you. Does it ever drive, speaking of mistakes, does it ever drive you nuts when you read an article online and they misspelled something?
Absolutely.
I read an article tonight. It was about a homegrown terrorist that there's a $5 million reward. I just scanned the article real
Yeah.
quick, and they spelled like it was supposed to say camp, and they forgot the P. It's just
Damn.
yeah, and it's funny. I'm surprised the comments weren't ripping on him. I
Yeah.
never do because I'm a terrible speller or grammar. But what I feel like they have this. Although cam probably wouldn't come up in a spell check, that's a word.
That's true.
So, anyways,
Hmm.
I figured everyone you would be fussy about that.
Oh, yes.
So, what do you want to tell us about this picture?
Yeah, so there are a couple of memes that I saw on Facebook. Funny story, I gave up Facebook for like 2 weeks and then I got in
2
my
days.
accident, basically. So I spend a lot of time on Facebook and I see some things that really make me think. And this is one of them. I am a person of, I'll call it all or nothing thinking. Like it's hard for me to be in the middle sometimes. And so I saw this, and at first I was like, yeah, whatever. But then I took some time to think about it. So this says things you can do at the same time. You can support American troops and care about refugees and asylum seekers at the same time. You can care about American children and care about refugee children. You can care about our country and you can care about world issues. I saw that, and I think the thing I noticed about it with myself is I so often fall under the right side, caring about refugees and asylum seekers and refugee children and world issues. And that's great. And I should care about those things. But I can also be supportive of the troops that are out there putting their lives on the line for my country and for our freedom. I can care about the children here too. And I can care about our country. It's not an all or nothing type of thing. So it may not be mind-blowing, but it really made me stop and think.
Well, the problem is so yeah, you can say that, but what actions? It's always a right-left thing, right?
It is.
You know, and you can do both. I think that's what you're saying, but you can say you care about both, but where would you spend your money? Like,
True.
Like, let's where it boils down to. Like, I wore a shirt for a while and I stopped wearing it, but I had a shirt that said "Veterans Before Refugees," because I think our veterans are not taken care of here, and so we're spending all this money on refugees, but where is the money going for the veterans? You know,
Yeah.
when you're in the service, you're a god. You know,
Right.
they pay for everything. I mean, you're not making tons of money, but you don't pay for the house. You don't
Yeah.
where you live. Like everything's taken care of. But as soon as you get out, they're just like,
See you later.
sorry.
And they have post-traumatic stress disorder, which ruins lives.
Oh, it's terrible.
Like-
It's the worst thing ever.
Yeah, I mean, obviously being in the service is clearly a challenge, but I think coming home and having no support is even more of a challenge.
Why do you think they go back?
Yeah,
They like the brotherhood. They like
Exactly.
They like all that, and they want to be with their brothers. They come home and they just can't function.
yeah,
And so I guess my point is, you know, where is the money getting spent? Is it getting spent for veterans? Is it getting
Sure.
spent for refugees? You know, but yes, just looking at it for face value, I do care about both.
yeah,
I mean, personally,
and that's okay. Like,
and it's okay.
and I don't need to take sides. I don't know. I think about Jesus and his approach, and I think he would be supportive of all of them.
Oh, for sure.
So, yeah, I feel like there's so much pull to be either on the left or on the right, and I think people lose sight of the fact that you can be both, and that's okay.
And that's okay. Yes. So why don't you tell me about this next one?
Yes. So I'll read this one. It's just a good, heartwarming type of post. I did not write the please read in the margins. I don't know who did, but whatever. So this was shared by somebody, one of my friends. I don't know who. I'm stalling because I'm trying to scroll up and it's not letting me.
I can read it, or it's on the screen.
Oh, there it is. Look at that. As I was pulling into work, I was following this car, creep. The sign in the back window says, "Learning stick, sorry for any delay." Knowing this information, I was very patient with their slow shifting, and honestly, they were doing pretty well for still learning. Then I asked myself a tough question. Would I have been just as patient if the sign hadn't been there? I can almost definitely say no. We don't know what someone is going through. We don't wear signs that illustrate our personal struggles. You don't see signs taped to people's shirts that say, going through a divorce, or lost a child, or feeling depressed, or diagnosed with cancer. If we could read visually what those around us are going through, we would definitely be nicer. But we shouldn't have to see signs and have reasons to treat strangers with kindness. We should do it anyway, whether we know what is going on or not. Whether they deserve it or not.
Yeah, like people in the line at Meijer.
You had to bring that up.
The whole time I couldn't wait till you were done reading it. Oh, I'm sorry. Come on, that was funny.
That was pretty
We can
funny.
laugh about it now. But no,
Yes.
what a good thing to just to think about. I always say to myself, I try to, like, you don't know their story. And I'm going to steal this from Zane, but he always says, you know, one time they were a little baby and what happened to them?
Right?
You know, you feel it makes you have more empathy for
does.
whatever is going on.
For sure.
I mean, it doesn't excuse you if you're being an a-hole to people out of line, but
Right.
it still makes you think a little bit.
Yes.
So, the last thing I want to talk about, and I'm not going to do a ton talking about, but it's apparently MLive is doing a like a mental illness segment, or
Yeah.
what do they call it? Series, but the picture says the average delay between the onset of mental illness symptoms and treatment is 11 years.
Jeez.
That's
That's
a
insane.
long time.
That is.
But
it's
it
like a third of my life.
Right. It starts with, a letter from the editor. Let's use holiday gatherings to pull back the stigma on mental health issues. And I'm not going to read this whole thing, but we'll post it in the show notes. And I don't know if we did it. Did you post this one online for a story or not?
I
But
don't think so.
yeah,
I don't remember.
this is about you can share your story with them about mental health and your struggle and just talking like we do.
Yeah.
Like just bringing it out in the open. Like it's okay if you're a guy and you have mental illness. It's okay if it's been a shitty day. Like you can say that. It's okay. I think I don't understand like communication, and I struggle with it too, even with my own marriage and not saying things, but it makes things so much better. Mm-hmm. And saying what it is, like this is my pain, like kind of circling back to that.
Absolutely.
So yeah, check out that this project. Let's see, back in December I wrote a project. Yeah, I feel bad because I don't really have a lot to say about it, but we'll post it. But it's not.
It's really. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I think it's just more about this is more of entering your essay or something like that. But
yeah.
It talks about if you feel someone is having a mental issue, start with a primary care, urge them to call the doctor and make an appointment. I think once they get in the system, that's fine. I think the system is fine as far as once you get in.
But it's that asking for help that so many people are afraid to do.
Right.
That was my biggest thing. Like,
yeah.
I had 2 therapists that I tried here in Michigan, and both of them ended up being kind of a joke.
Don't you mean counselors?
Blank stare. And so that was a big part of it for me, was I had 2 experiences that didn't go very well, and I just didn't want to have to rehash everything with somebody else.
And I totally understand that. It's totally valid because you have to tell your story again. And it's like, this is annoying.
Yeah.
That's why when I say go to see a therapist after the 3rd or 4th visit, if you're not not that you all are going to be best friends.
Right.
But
if you're not connecting.
If you're not connecting, bail.
Yeah. There's this thing called the therapeutic bond. And it's basically the bond that you have with your provider. And if you don't feel like there's a bond forming, don't waste your time and don't feel bad about it. Go find somebody that's going to work. But all that to say, I did have those moments of, I really don't need to do this. I'm okay. It's just going to be a pain, and just making excuses. But again, once I got over myself and found somebody, he turned out to be just the perfect fit for me.
What surprises me with you is you having that suck it up attitude. Like, I feel like you're not like that. That's not a bad thing, but you're just more thoughtful and you know what I mean. I've said it before, but it just surprised me. Like, oh, I don't need therapy. It's fine. I'll just take care of it myself. And it just surprised me of you having that attitude about mental health.
Generally, I'm open to accepting help, but not all the time.
Yeah, and that's fine. It just surprises me a little bit. So.
Yeah, that's fair.
So Ben's got a new segment. There was one I wanted to start too, and you never got back to me on that.
I didn't. I'm sorry.
Maybe we'll do that for next time.
There you go.
Go ahead.
So growing up, I was subscribed to this magazine called CCM, Christian Contemporary Music. And it was all about these big bands in the Christian music industry. And I remember one time they ran an article called Jesus Junk, and it highlighted all of these silly things that have been Christianized, whether it's the peppermints that are called testaments, or the Life Savior t-shirts, or take any candy brand and somebody did a spin on it to make it about Jesus. So it's like Jesus Junk. And the article was all about how that's silly and whatnot. But what's ironic about that is that article was published in a Jesus Junk type of magazine. So go figure that out.
Yeah.
So ever since then, I've had a thing for Jesus Junk and just finding it and making fun of it, essentially.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because going back to your segment idea, I feel like the more I talk about Jesus Junk, the more I'm seeing it in my news feed.
Yeah, for sure.
It's creepy on Facebook.
Yeah.
So this week in my scrolling, I saw an ad for a beautiful gift for Christian families, a Jesus light. Like, why?
Now, let me preface by saying, if you are into this, it's cool. Like, we just, it's just kind of, I guess there's sales for everything.
I guess so.
You can buy anything with anything.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a satanic one too. But
I just don't understand why this is a thing. Like, it's a cross with a light on it. and you can change the light scenes. You can sync music.
See,
with
I
it.
actually don't have too much of a, because like this would be something cute to give to your kid. Maybe they're working through profession of faith and they need a nightlight. I mean, I can see this one. I'm okay.
Okay.
All right. So the next one.
The next one is a Christian planner. Apparently, Christians need their own planners to keep their poop in a group. I was going to say another word, but I refrained. Apparently, they need a Christian planner. And the reason I saw this ad is because I have a friend that likes this page. So if you're listening, you know who you are. I'm sorry. I just think this is dumb. Why do we need a planner to write out our plans for the day with Bible verses sprinkled in? I just...
Well, here's my devil's is it advocate?
Advocate.
Okay.
Yes.
If they want scripture in their frickin' planner, they can. Although,
I just think it's silly.
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's funny if you're looking, if you watch the video, it says eat breakfast on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday and Saturday, but on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, they're not eating breakfast.
I guess they're fasting to be more like Jesus.
Could be quiet time, cook dinner, quiet time, eat breakfast, no sweets, something before bed, scripture memory. Mail in bed? What does that say? Oh, make my bed. It's like, oh, this got weird.
Yeah.
Well, either way, there's, at least on this post, there was...
Oh, well, that's a habit tracker. So that you check off all the days you did those things.
Oh, okay. My bad. I didn't read that.
I don't know. I've had a planner. It wasn't a Christianese one, but it had things like that in it, and it was helpful. So I guess maybe if it's your thing, then I'm sure. But to me, I feel like
I think more the thing you're talking about is the lifesavers. Like you're taking a name brand stuff and you're like changing it. That to me is super
that's
weird.
Total Jesus junk.
Jesus junk.
But I feel like with this planner, you're taking a planner that you can go to Meijer and buy, and then you're just sprinkling in Bible verse and happy thoughts. And I don't know. I'm not a fan.
Well, speaking of Jesus junk, we have merch. It doesn't have the word Jesus on it. Go to threadspodcast.com, buy your fan or your family a Threads Podcast t-shirt or a sweatshirt.
They make great Christmas gifts.
Yeah, they do. And they're really, really high quality. So go to threadspodcast.com and click on merch and, buy something. Support. Be a Thready.
Yes, we need more Threadies, or we would love to have more Threadies.
Yes.
So the other thing that you can do that would help us out is connect with us on social media. If you are a Facebook junkie like me, not Jason, he's apparently better than all of us.
No, I am. I just on it for work. I don't doing it for really anything else.
No, but if you like to scroll, we tend to give you some things to think about throughout the week. Every night on Monday, I'm posting various news stories. Some of them we talk about on the show, others we don't. But it's just a lot of fun. We've been getting some interaction from our fans, commenting on the silly stories or, liking the stuff that's moving. So definitely look for us on social media. We are on Facebook and Twitter. And occasionally we'll post some pictures on Instagram, but
yeah, I think Instagram is Threads Podcast Life Unfiltered. I don't know. They're all a little different because some of the words were taken. So, but if you search Threads Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook,
you'll find us.
So
interact with us, like our page. If you have an article you think is great and you want to share it with us, please do. We'd love to.
We would love to talk about something that you're interested in.
Absolutely.
We just put stuff that we are, and you guys might not give a crap.
Yeah.
So the last thing for the show before we wrap up is our unfiltered finale, and it's just something where we had a new connection form or something amazing happen. Initially, when this podcast started, we had the flub at the end, and I like Ben, this is dumb. We can't end with a negative thing. And he said, you know what, you're probably right. So, and I love it when Ben says I'm right. So this is I
don't say it often.
Not very often. So this is our unfiltered finale, and tonight I want to talk about a new connection form. Well, a new type of connection. So Samantha is in our GR Rideshare Adventures podcast group, business, whatever you want to call it. She's been a rideshare driver in our big group. And again, couldn't tell you how I met her. Don't know. Like, I struggle with that.
Probably Facebook.
Yeah, probably Facebook or something. Yeah, probably. So, and she's probably been over a year, maybe longer, that she's been involved in our lives with rideshare and stuff. And we kind of added her on as part of a team member, and she's been great.
Yeah.
It's been great to have a female perspective. It's been great. She's young and she's going to school, so she's just full of like good ideas, and I don't know. It's just been a good fit. And she said that something to me the other day, and I don't even remember what it was about, but she said something to me. She said, "You know what, Jason, we're a lot alike. You know, we're kind of rough around the edges." And that was all it was. And I was just like, oh, it just like totally warmed my heart to know that we just had this connection. Like, we didn't have to say anything else. We kind of looked at each other, and I'm like, yeah, that's totally it. And then we probably talked crap about something else and moved on with our life. But it was just kind of cool I've been telling Megan about that, and I told my therapist about that. And it wasn't this huge connection, but it just kind of like, we kind of got each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
And Sam has just been so great. When everything went down with Miracle, I just pulled myself off of Telegram. I just I needed some space to work through stuff and didn't want to have the distraction of Telegram. So I gave everybody my phone number. Everybody that needed my phone number, I gave it to them and said, just text me if you need something. And Sam did. Like, she took time to check in and say, hey, how's it going? I know things are rough. And I don't think she's a person of faith. I mean, her mom works at Kelvin.
She's not. And that's okay.
And that's totally okay.
Right.
But just the humanity she showed in checking in.
Yeah.
Like, that meant a lot, that she took a moment to just say, hey, I'm thinking about you.
I think a lot of it is, Gabe said it right so well about me. He's like, yeah, it takes a little bit to get to know him, but, we have deep conversations. He can give me crap, but then in the same token, be there for me. And I feel like Sam's the same way. She's like, she can hold her own.
She does.
She does not need any help with that.
She rolls with the boys just fine.
Yeah, but she has that. She has a soft emotional inside, she wants to help and be loving. And it's just, I don't know. It was great. I was just so happy. And it was just such a short moment, and then we just moved on. I think it was right before the podcast, last Wednesday or something. I don't know, but it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was as you guys were getting ready to go live.
Yeah, that was that's hit the fan.
That's when everything was starting to go to crap.
Yeah,
such a crazy night.
Oh, aren't you glad that God was like, because you were debating on coming?
I was going to come, and then I was just like, I just can't rally. For whatever reason, well, I know now looking back, I just could not get myself in the mood to go to the podcast. And obviously being down with a broken back, obviously my spirits were just low already. Usually I can rally and pull myself together and show up like I did tonight.
But see, if you would come, you would have had a riot.
Probably.
I mean, not obviously what happened. If
Yeah.
that didn't happen, you would have been fine. But I get it when you're just kind of like, ugh. And you haven't been driving in a while, so you feel kind of out of the loop.
I was very out of the loop for that podcast. So I just told the guys, it was like, I'm really having a hard time pulling myself together. I'm hurting, and Miracle's been having a rough time. I'm just not going to make it tonight. Thank God I didn't go, because
you
Andy
probably
would have
got
herself.
Yeah, and you probably would have got up in the middle of it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah. So yeah, that was hard. But through all of that stuff, it's been so neat to see all of the connections in our lives, that people that just care the world for us and would drop everything to help. There's two people specifically that come to mind, Dan and Michelle, who just happen to live down the road from us. Didn't know that. But they go to our church, and we've gotten to know them a little bit here and there. Michelle works with the kids program, and Miracle's been a part of that. And Michelle has been kind of one of Miracle's people. Like, she was at the adoption ceremony, and Dan's a great guy too. He's actually the president of Youth for Christ in Grand Rapids or West Michigan area. So these they were kind of just acquaintances. We didn't know them super well, but our daughter looked up to both of them. And they have walked through some challenging situations with one of their kids as well. And so they get it. They get what it's like to feel completely ineffective and unable to help your kid. They've been there. And so they said, please call. The moment things go haywire, you can call us at any time and we'll come over, we'll sit with you, we'll work through it. And so Sunday, things started to go haywire again. And so we called and we just said, we're on the struggle bus. That's all we had to say. And they're like, all right, we'll be right over. What's your address? 5 minutes later, they're walking into our house. Dan asks for permission to go up to Miracle's room to talk with her. And we're like, yes, please go. And Michelle sat in the kitchen with Andy and I and just debrief stuff. And just like, she was like, how are you guys? What do we need to do to help you? And it was just so incredible that we had that opportunity to just pick up the phone and say, we're struggling. And next thing you know, they're there. And Dan was able to talk Miracle down. And it was just like, you guys are such a godsend. So I've been that person. Like, I have been the one that goes and helps somebody on a moment's notice. That's what I'm used to. And I love doing that. It's in my nature to be kind and helpful. And if I hear of a need that I can meet, I will do everything in my power to meet it. So to be on the flip side of that has been just so different, but so good at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's the connection that's been formed for us. And that's only one of them. I could list others as well, but certainly Dan and Michelle have gone above and beyond for us. And they continue to text each day. How are things going? How can we pray for you?
Yeah. They
just care. And it's so refreshing to be on the receiving end of that. And so that's my connection.
People that aren't faith-based, and I'm totally okay with that. I would love you to be a Christian and love you to be faith-based. But one thing that it just comes, even if you don't want to be part of a religion, just being part of that community is helpful. Like you said earlier, what happens to people that, they may have a few friends, but I mean, when the S hits the fan, a lot of times the friends, a lot of them don't show up.
Yeah.
Or
because it's hard. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah. And I think with being, in a faith-based organization, I think they strive, or not strive, that's not the word, but they thrive on those kind of things.
Yeah.
They're like, they want to help, they want to be there, and not to be Christianese and talk crap about you. They just want to be helpful.
Exactly.
So, well, guys, thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate all our listeners and our threadies. Again, follow us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, for pictures and fun stuff. And always, if you feel like the need that you need some help and you want to start therapy, message us on Facebook or whatever.
Yeah,
you can
we'll
get a
get
hold.
you connected.
You know how to get a hold of us. So, thank you guys so much, and have a fantastic night.